ouchi gari against left-handed opponents is a completely different technique to this ouchi gari against right-handers. A left-handed fighter stands with his left foot forward. This means that they are already in the starting position for inoue to enter with ouchi gari. The direction of inoue's left-handed ouchi gari is to more of an angle than his right-handed version. Inoue breaks a left-hander's balance by hopping them diagonally along the right leg's weakest line, rather than directly backwards as with right-handers. Inoue exposes a left-handed fighter's weak point by applying pressure to the inside of their supporting right leg. He does this by hopping towards their right foot. When Inoue enters, his left foot effectively replaces Uki's and is facing in the same direction as Uki's right foot. He then hops around and towards Uki's supporting foot. Inoue leaves a clear gap between himself and Uki when he enters for ouchi gari. This allows his lapel hand the space it needs to drive Uki along a diagonal line. Inoue enters with a big twisting reverse step from his supporting foot. His upper body movement against a left-hander has two main differences to his right-handed version. Firstly, as Inoue is fighting a left-hander, he attacks from a sleeve and lapel grip. Secondly, as he attacks, he pushes and directs with his right hand, but pulls and guides with his left. From this angle, you can really see how Inoue pushes Uki's head across, thus anchoring their weight onto their right leg. And now, in a competitive situation, Inoue puts everything together to throw with ouchi gari. Notice that as Inoue comes in, he pulls on the sleeve and with a tremendous push on the lapel against Uki's head, drives him down to the mat. Look at the quick change in direction of Inoue's supporting foot. It starts parallel to Uki's right foot, but then starts hopping around and towards it, the toes pointing in the direction of the throw. In the 2003 All Japan Championships against the left-handed Takayama, Inoue throws with ouchi gari. As Inoue jumps in with ouchi, he directs Takayama diagonally, causing his right knee to buckle. Inoue uses his hands so effectively, pulling on the sleeve while pushing and directing on the lapel. Brilliant. Against Yuri Rybak of Belarus in the 2005 Kano Cup final, Inoue grips up and attacks immediately with ouchi gari, ippon. Inoue attacks from such an extreme angle that he is side-on to Rybak. He pulls in on the sleeve, and just look at his lapel hand, fully extended and pushing against the side of Rybak's head to direct him downwards and onto the mat. From this angle, you can really see the huge push against Rybak's head. And just look at the power from that driving left leg. Inoue attacks straight off the grip and immediately breaks Rybak's balance. It's another incredible ippon from Inoue and yet another gold medal. And finally, to one of the most remarkable ouchi garis of all time. In the 1998 All Japans against Masabuchi, Inoue enters with ouchi gari. Masabuchi slips off, but Inoue still has the momentum and upper body control. Pulling on the sleeve and pushing on the lapel, he runs the length of the mat, driving Masabuchi diagonally before scoring ippon. This just goes to show how important the upper body is when throwing with ouchi gari. When fighting at plus 100 kilos, Inoue was always looking for the weak point in his opponent's balance. Against a heavier opponent, Inoue often enters with one technique and then switches to another. Inoue attacks with uchimata, feels a reaction from uki and adjusts to ouchi gari. As the explosive speed of a minus 100 kilos ouchi has less effect on a plus 100 kilos opponent, Inoue prefers more to adjust the weight and direction of the throw depending on the reaction of his opponent. Inoue describes this as finding the weak point. Here, Inoue enters with ouchi gari, feels the defensive push from uki, and so switches forward with uchimata. Inoue sometimes just tests the water by lifting up uki's left leg. If he gets a significant reaction from uki, he can then sense their weak line and launch an attack in that direction. Here, Inoue comes in with uchimata, feels for uki's weak point, and pivots on his left foot to hop in with ouchi gari. In the 2000 All Japan Championships, Inoue attacks with ashiwaza and then ouchi gari and scores wazari. The ashiwaza rocks Takahashi. Inoue then enters with ouchi, finds the weak point and drives him towards it. The throw ends up being a circling version of his ouchi against right-handers. In the same contest, Inoue stabs with a harai goshi and then comes in with ouchi gari. Inoue's first attack breaks Takahashi's balance. He then hooks in with uchimata and turns it into ouchi gari. This technique really demonstrates the crossover between uchimata and ouchi gari and how they can combine. And whether it's uchimata or ouchi, the lapel hand is so important. In the 2007 Paris tournament final, Inoue performs a beautiful hopping ouchi gari to score ippon against Yuri Rybak of Belarus and win the plus 100 kilos gold medal. Inoue enters with his ouchi gari for left-handers, and in a perfect demonstration of adjusting to uki's reactions and playing the edge, he changes direction twice before hopping Rybak over for ippon. Inoue is conscious of going outside of the area, so changes direction and manages to keep his foot inside. From above, just look at Inoue's lapel hand and how important it is dictating the direction of the technique and breaking Rybak's balance. And finally, just to show Inoue's understanding of ouchi gari, he can counter too. This incredible ouchi geishi against Shimodi in the semi-finals of the 2001 All Japan Championships demonstrates a natural ouchi gari instinct from Inoue. He can sense the ouchi coming in and circles to the left, and as the right leg comes in, steps over and, in a perfect steering wheel motion, pulls down with the lapel hand and rotates with the left. A technique rarely seen in judo, performed in breathtaking style from a breathtaking fighter. The final part of the trilogy, Inoue the Samurai, explores the philosophy and samurai mindset of Kosei Inoue.